Hello there, my name is Luis and I'll be guiding you all the way to Denmark. Yep, good old Denmark. But wait a second, where is Denmark located? Well, Denmark is located on the European continent, most precisely in Northern Europe. So let's talk a little bit more about it. Denmark is a Scandinavian country in Northern Europe and senior member of the Kingdom of Denmark. It is the southernmost of the Nordic countries, southwest of Sweden and south of Norway, and bordered by the south by Germany. Denmark's border both the Baltic and the North Seas. The country consists of a large peninsula called Jutland, well I think it's pronounced that way, and many larger islands, which have even more strange names, and since I don't speak any Danish, I'll just write them down on the screen. And beside those large islands, there is also a smaller complex of even smaller islands, often referred as the Danish archipelago. But anyway, now that we know where it is located, we can start giving a little more information regarding it. Well, first of all, you should know that the country, better said as the kingdom, is a kind of constitutional monarchy with a parliament system of government. But I bet you guys want to listen a little bit more about this so-called monarchy, so here it goes. The Kingdom of Denmark is a constitutional monarchy, and Margaret II is the nowadays queen, and the Prime Minister is Lars Rasmussen, or something like that. The guy has a really strange name. And as stipulated in the Danish constitution, the monarch is not answerable for their actions. Before being validated, all bills and important government measures must be discussed in a private council headed by the monarch. The Danish private council protocols are secret, and although the monarch is formally given executive power, his power is strictly ceremonial. That means that the monarch is expected to be entirely apolitical and refrain from influencing in the government. For example, members of the royal family do not cast their votes in elections and referendums, even though they do have the right. The country has been a member of the European Union since 1973, but although it has been a member, it has not joined the Eurozone. Just a little piece of information before we go deep into Danish history is that according to the US business magazine Forbes, from 2006 to 2008, surveys ranked Denmark as the happiest place on earth based on standards of health, welfare, and education. The 2009 Global Peace Index survey ranks Denmark as the second most peaceful country in the world, after New Zealand. In 2009, Denmark was ranked as one of the least corrupt countries in the world according to the Corruption Perception Index, ranking second only to New Zealand, well again lost to New Zealand, and also have one of the highest HDIs, measuring something around 0.955. Okay, now let's take a quick walkthrough around Danish history. The earliest mention of a territory called Denmark is found in King Alfred the Great's modified translation into Old English of the 7 books of history against the pagans. It has a Latin name, just write it down on the screen just for curiosity. And well, this book was written by Alfred when he was the King of Wessex. That goes from 871 to 899. Well, in a passage introduced to the text by Alfred, we read about his travels in the Nordic region, during which Denmark was in his port side, and then for 2 days he had on his port side the island which now belong to Denmark. The first recorded use of the word Denmark within Denmark itself It's found on the two Jalin stones, which are rune stones believed to have been erected by Gorm the Old and Herod Bluetooth. Well, the largest stone of the two is often mentioned as the Denmark birth certificate, though both has the word Denmark on it. Well, all the way from the Viking Age, when Denmark was mixed up among the other Viking people, through the end of the 13th century, it changed a lot, reflecting now the models of European feudalism, and with the Protestant church spreading throughout the land. Well, that religion revolution, maybe we can call it that way, it even caused a war. It all started at the death of Frederick I in 1533, when two claimed for the throne. One guy was backed up by the Protestant Lutheran Church and the other one by the Catholic nobles. Well, the war ended up in an episode known as the Massacre of Skipper, when a peasant army at Aalborg in December of 1534, well, it definitely brought an end to the war and led the pro-Lutheran party firmly in charge. Well, after that, Denmark became officially Lutheran in 1536, and the Catholic bishops were arrested and imprisoned. Abbeys, nunneries, monasteries, and other church properties were confiscated by local nobility and the crown. Monks, nuns, and clergy lost their livelihood, but the bishops who agreed to marry and not stir up trouble were given former church lands as personal estates. Today, 82% of the inhabitants of Denmark are members of the state Lutheran Church. Well, modern history of Denmark is not so charming, so just summarizing it, the country had a small role in the two world wars, and despite its modest size, it's been participating in major military and humanitarian operations, most notably in the UN. With history done, let's just skip to geography. Denmark occupies 40,000 square kilometers and has really small elevations in terms of sea level, an average of 31 meters above sea level, and the highest peak is only 170 meters above sea level. Well, the climate is in the temperate zone, and it's a kind of oceanic climate. The winter is not particularly cold, which means temperature in January and February around 0 Celsius degrees, and the summers are cool, with a mean temperature in August of 15, maybe 16 Celsius degrees. Well, as I've already said, the country is the senior member of the Kingdom of Denmark, which consists of Denmark, Greenland, and the Faroe Islands. Okay, to economy now. Denmark's national currency, the krone, and the exchange rate approximately 7.5 kroner per euro. And according to the World Bank Group, Denmark has the most flexible labor market in Europe. The policy is called flexicurity. Well, that means it is easy to hire, fire, and also to find a job. Well, Denmark has a labor force of about 2.9 million workers, and it is the fourth highest ratio of tertiary degree holders in the world. And finally, last but not least, the Danish soccer team. The Denmark national football team is controlled by the Danish Football Association and has represented the country of Denmark in international football competitions since 1908. While the team has been a solidly competitive side in international football since the mid-80s, with the triumph in the 1992 European Championship tournament and most preeminent victory, beating the European champions in the semi-final and the world champion in the final. They also won the Confederations Cup in 1995, defeating Argentina 2-0 in the final match. Well, on October 10, 2009, Denmark qualified for the 2010 FIFA World Cup, by winning the qualification group with a victory over Sweden. It's the fourth time Denmark shows up at the World Cup this year, following appearances in 1986, 1998, and 2002. Well, just to remember, a World Cup has never happened in Denmark so far.